Hey guys, so today I am here with Brent Moorer Gaskins, who has been part of the biggest movies like in today's pop culture, and he's an actor, and we're just getting to know his story and how he got started. So, how are you doing today, Brent?
Oh, I'm doing wonderful. What about yourself?
Good, doing very well. I've been actually excited for this interview because I'm a film major, so I love talking about film. So getting to meet someone who's part of the film industry. So, yeah, how did you get started? What inspired you to become an actor?
Awesome. It was 2015, and online I was approached by an agency to be represented, or to get assistance being casted for movies. Um, Following up, a friend of mine at that time, her son, um, with the same agency, said that he was being casted for Captain America 3 Civil War. So I signed up and paid my money, found out later that it was a scam. So went online, went to Facebook and put in hashtag casting, and all of these casting companies popped up. So I kind of did like a eeny, meeny, miny, mo and picked one. And the one that I picked was a casting call for um, Sputnik 1. And the name of the movie was being coded. I mean, but I had no idea. I was brand spanking new. And
Mhm.
I submitted, and the casting director hit me back. And she was like, you're in Charlotte, and this film's in Atlanta. And I was like, hey, I got a car, I got money, I can get there. And, if I need to stay the night, I got money for a hotel. I'm ready to do this. I just need the opportunity. And she said, check your email. And she booked me. And that was for Captain America 3 Civil War.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I'm a huge Marvel fan. So what scene were you part of like in that movie in the Civil War?
Awesome. In Captain America 3 Civil War, I was in the scene where it was in the United Nations. I think it may have been Brussels, Belgium, or somewhere. United Nations scene, and the Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, is talking to John Coney, who plays his father, um, before the assembly, and then during the assembly, John Coney announces that Wakanda is going to partner with Marvel because of the attempts to steal vibranium, and they're going to use Marvel's, the hero, the Avengers, use their assistance to make sure that nobody walks in or walks out with any vibranium. So while he's making this announcement, uh, Chadwick Boseman is at the window. He's looking downstairs. There's a van, and the police are there with the dogs, and his senses picks up that something is wrong. And he turns around and he runs and jumps and says, "Everybody get down!" And there's this big explosion, and it kills his father. Well, I'm in that scene before the big explosion. I'm sitting on the front row, and Scarlett Johansson is sitting behind me. She's very nice, by the way. Very nice
Oh,
human being, Scarlett Johansson. Love her to death. Yeah, yeah.
that's
So
good.
yeah, and so I saw myself in the trailer, and I like freaked out. I'm like, oh my god, it's me, and I had to freeze it. I had to because it was background.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
how I got
so
started.
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I remember that scene clearly. When you're on those like big movies sets, how is it different from being, on a smaller set?
On the big movie sets, it's more. It reminds me kind of the military. Um, it's they have a system, but
Mhm.
because they're accustomed to dealing with a lots of people at the same time. So your check-in is there's a process for you signing in. There's a process for you to go eat. There's a process for schedule breaks. It's a system, and they have to do it that way because again, time is money.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so that's the biggest difference. On the smaller sets, it's a lot more loose. You're filming in a house. it's not your turn to be in front of the camera. So you're on the couch reading a book, taking a nap, or playing a game, you know what I mean, kind of
Hmm.
thing. Yeah. So
Hmm.
that's the major difference, basically, like the systems and how they work. On the smaller sets, it's a lot more flexibility and loose. On the bigger sets, there's protocol and policies and procedures in place.
Yeah, because I've heard too, like, yeah, because, being on a Marvel set or in the big movies, they're more of a franchise. So, the studio controls that. So I've always like been curious. And when you're on it, when you're in the background, like, what kind of like direction does the director or like assistant director, does anyone like tell you, okay, this is what you're gonna be doing, pretend like you're talking, or like what we see as people who are not
Absolutely.
in the film industry. Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. So, for example, let's start from you're in what's called holding, and that's where all of the background is
Mhm.
located. A lot of times while you're in holding, you're getting something to eat, using the bathroom, you're getting checked by hair and makeup, you're getting checked by wardrobe, and you're basically checked and approved before you walk out of holding to actually go to set for any scene, for any role, for any character. All of that stuff is checked. So normally the person who's in charge of each department gives the final head nod type of thing, like, yes, the hair looks good, the makeup looks good, wardrobe looks good. If they see anything that's out of place, they will hold you there and clear that before they send you to set.
Mhm.
Because once you get to set, they want you to be ready to get out there and do your thing. So a lot of times you're in holding, and then you'll have a PA or a production assistant who
Mhm.
works with the production team come in and say, "Hey, I need 10 people for a bar scene." And then he'll start counting and call. He'll point to people. You two, you're a couple. Yeah, you two. And they'll do that. And they'll pick their 10. And then they'll say, "Follow me." Um, and they walk you over. They obey traffic rules and regulations, and they make sure you're safe crossing the street. All that good stuff. You get to set, and they'll kind of tuck you in a corner until the director says, "Okay, let's go ahead and build this scene out." Um, Me myself personally, I always stayed visible to the PA. I would sit very close to the door that they walked in whenever they came from set looking for someone, because most directors build from the front of the movie set where the principal actor or actress is to the back of the movie set. So when he or she walks in the room and says, "I need it, here you go, right here." Yes. And I never was quiet on a set. Never have been quiet on the set. I make sure that the PAs know me and I get to know them by name. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good tip for those
yeah,
who
yeah.
want to be just starting acting. That's a really good idea. That's
Right,
good.
right. Oh, so let me finish up real quick. So they have you tucked away. So when a director says, "Okay, all right, let's go ahead and build this scene out." So then the first AD, the first assistant director, or the second assistant director, somebody involved with how that scene is going to look, they start placing you in the around the setting.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they'll start placing you, and then sometimes they'll actually get the sides and read to you what that scene action is going to be. All right, you guys are in the bar. Act like you're talking. It should be pantomime. There should be no words coming out of anybody's mouth outside of the principal actor or actress. In this scene, we're going to play a looped restaurant sound, but you guys look like you're talking. And remember, there are people who can read your lips and read exactly what you're saying word for word. So don't make up foolish things when you're having that conversation. There have been times that people have been called out because someone who was mute and deaf but could read lips was reading the conversation off of the actor who was in the background, and what
Mhm.
they were saying wasn't nice at all. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So the best way to stay um continuous on sets is basically to do what you're told, be where you're supposed to be. And when you spot a person who has negative or bad energy, get very far away from them, because a lot of times they can bring attention to you in a situation with something that you weren't even a part of. And now the PAs are writing down your name saying, you're part of this group over here that's making all of this noise. Yeah. If you can't, if you have very poor self control, this may not be the business for you. Because when they say quiet all around or quiet on the set, that's exactly what they mean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that like what you said where earlier is time is money because everyone's there and everyone's trying to put this production, whatever is together. So yeah, I completely understand. Yeah, I that's why I am so impressed of how like behind the scenes and how,
Mm-hmm.
it everybody from the PAs and kind of leading to my next question is that, being on these huge sets, have you created like any relationships, like people that like, oh, how are you doing? How was, just seeing them from the last time to the, next project, anything like that?
Oh, absolutely. The one of the biggest things for me as a human being is connecting with other people and networking. So I know on the bigger sets, like I said, they had a different protocol. You weren't supposed to speak to the principal actors or actresses unless
Mhm.
they spoke to you. If
Mhm.
someone um, and me, I probably violated that like a million times, but it was never me directly approaching an actor or an actress asking them for anything. And the reason why I say that is because I don't care who you were on the movie set. If you walked past me, I spoke to you. I said hello. I said good morning. You know what I mean? So that part of the rule maybe I violated, but I don't. I was raised to, when you walk by a person and they're looking you in the face and you're looking them in the face, you say something. You say hello. You say good morning. You say greetings. You give them some type of salutation. So I've done that millions of times, which have sparked different conversations. Um, um, but I've met a lot of people. One of the people who I really admire, and I admire different people that I've met for different reasons. One of the people I really admire is Danny McBride. I think this guy has a photographic memory. Um, I had an incident. The person who I was in a relationship with had a stroke. We were filming in Charleston, and I had to get back to Charlotte, North Carolina. And after all of that happened, and I came back to set a couple of weeks later, I was walking up to the school, and Danny McBride was getting out of his car, and he said, "Hey, Brent, good morning." He called me by name, and man, it blew me away. I'm like, wow, this dude just called me by my name. That's Danny McBride. He remembers who I am. And then he asks, how was the person I was in a relationship with, how was she, recovering from the stroke and stuff. Um, Danny McBride, um, Michelle Dockery. We were filming a TV series in Wilmington, and it was her and Juan Diego Bato, I believe that was the other guy. That was the guy who was playing. But anyway, we was filming this scene where I had to keep crossing her, and during a break, she took her shoes off, and I noticed when she was walking on the ball of her feet. And I said, wow, so you used to dance. That's what I said, right? This is me background to the principal actress, Michelle Dockery from Downton Abbey. And she said, yes. She said, how do you know? I said, well, I teach Detroit style ballroom, and I notice how you move on your feet. And she was like, wow, that's awesome. And we talked a little bit, and boom. Um, David Hinman, he's in that movie that just came out. I forget the name of it. Action movie. He's like a bad sheriff that kind of ends up turning good. We filmed a TV series called Outcast together,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, um, real. I just love down to earth people, and I've met a lot of them. I've met Chris Evans, very down to earth. Reg Cathy, I was his stand-in. He's passed away since, but very down to earth. Charmin Lee, she's all over the place. I tell people, please Google her name if you don't know who she is. She is
Mhm.
awesome. Charmin Lee. And I've met a lot of actors and actresses that I've been able to network with. Some of us actually are still in touch. We actually have each other's phone numbers. But I don't bother them unless I really need them for something big. But we all know that we're there for each other, so to speak. We support each other on social media, sharing each other's stuff, making comments, but that's it. But the networking, absolutely. If the opportunity presents itself, absolutely. Very, very important. Very important.
Yeah, and that's not, networking is really important, not just for the acting industry, but for other jobs too. And but yeah, that's really thank you for sharing those multiple stories with me, especially the one with Danny McBride. And I think it's so important for actors to get to know people who are behind the scenes, like, oh, how are you
Yeah,
doing? Because I've heard about that where the extras are not supposed to talk to the lead actress or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And I can kind of see why, but at the same time, like everyone's human. Like it doesn't matter if you're the A-lister or anything at all. I think, you should be able to, as long as the extras do their job, of course. But
Right, right,
so,
right, right.
yeah, but yeah, I find I like it when I hear stories of actors of actually, Danny McBride recognized you, called you by name,
Yeah,
and actually getting to know the people who are making these movies because they don't get enough credit, sadly enough, which I think they should.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so I did notice too that you were in Black Panther 2,
Yeah.
Civil War 2, the another Civil War movie, not Captain America, of course.
That's a Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
how did those two go, working on, those movies?
All right, let's start with Civil War. That's a movie by A24. It's about the United States being split into four sections, and those four sections, of course, battling for things that really don't belong to none of us. God, in my mind, made all of this. You can't die and say, well, I own this piece of land right here, so put that in my casket. I'm gonna take that with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, on that movie was very memorable. We did film that outside of Atlanta, in Atlanta area, outside of Atlanta. Um, I fractured my foot on that movie set. The very first day of filming, about 2 hours into filming. Um, and they asked me, did I want to stay? And I did say yes. So I ended up on crutches. And again, I did see myself in the trailer. I haven't seen the movie yet, but I am in the trailer, hopping past Kirsten Dunst with these crutches on. Like I said, I've been blessed. I really have been blessed.
Oh.
Um, that was memorable. I am the only injured Marine in the whole movie, I think. Well, for the part of the movie we filmed, I was the only injured Marine on
Mhm.
crutches. So you're not going to miss me.
Mhm.
Um, and Wakanda Forever. Oh, you about to make me cry. Woo!
Oh, I know. That movie made me cry. So funny.
Listen. Okay, first of all, I do want to say shout out to one of my friends. She's been a stunt person for Marvel for years now. Her name is London Shari, and I saw her on set. We took a picture, and it's on my social media, my Facebook and my Instagram. And um, that movie was so freaking awesome. First of all, there was still the heavy heart floating in the air from Chadwick being gone. Um, but then there was also an intensity to say, now let's take this thing to the next level. Let's take all of the good we experienced with him. Let's ball that up into some energy, release it into the room, and let's make a great movie. And when I say they did that, they did that. We filmed for 3 days. I was a Wakandan scientist. Um, I am in the movie and in the trailer. Well, no, not in the trailer, but I am in the movie. I see myself in the movie very clearly because Ryan Coogler, thank you, sir, allowed me to have an action where I walked from one side of the lab to the other, getting ready to go up some stairs. And then one of the other scientists says in French that he lost his security visual. So I stopped from going up the steps and I beeline to him to help him out. And that's when the lights flicker and then the explosion happens and they come in and they think they're going to steal um, the vibranium, and then they get access to the doors. The doors open up and then there's the Dora Milaje and they come in there and they wipe the room out. And I was also one of the people in that scene that had on the bracelet that when you press it, the shield
Mhm.
comes over us so that we're protected from the bullets that were flying from the French that came to, steal the vibranium. That one was awesome. I did try to get Ryan Coogler to sign my book that was about Chadwick Boseman, but he said he didn't want to sign the cover. And in that moment, I left it alone. But then I said to myself, dang, I should have flipped to the article and let him sign his own article. That wouldn't have been disrespectful to Chadwick. And then I would have had Ryan Coogler's
Mhm.
autograph. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I as I read other articles after I left that movie set about Ryan Coogler and Chadwick Boseman, I better understood where his heart was. You know what I mean? The fanfare that I was feeling at the time, it wasn't nowhere on his radar. He was, you know what I mean? So, but I did get to speak to him. I got to speak to his first AD. And like I said, I was featured. I thank God for it. I was there for 3 days. The Dora Milaje is awesome in real life. Like those ladies, they ain't no joke. Like I wouldn't fight them. I mean, I would if I was in combat and didn't know it was a woman under the suit. You know what I mean? Like I, if no, I those ladies are bad. They're
Yeah.
awesome in real life. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And then the next scene, it's Angela Bassett giving that speech, and it's so
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, that's one
yeah,
of my
yeah,
favorites.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and that was kind of like my next question. Like, what was it like working with Ryan Coogler? Because, he did Creed with Michael B. Jordan and all these great movies. Like, and yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
want to know.
I really embrace moments like that because again, I look at my beginnings in this industry with Captain America through Civil War. Shortly after that, I became homeless. I was homeless for a few years, but I didn't give up. I kept pushing. I kept
Mhm.
pushing. I said, I'm alive. I want this. I'm going to do this. And man, yeah, I had people, oh, you should just go get a job over here, go do this, go do that. And I said, no, God's telling me something different and I'm going to stick with this. It allowed me to see who really was in my corner and who was just, being a fan. Hey, I love you when you're filming. Oh, you need help? Oh, no, I don't do that. Yeah. So, but I felt like it made me stronger. Yeah, I felt like going through that gave me more emotions to play with that I can control. Um, and I use the good times and the bad times for triggers. When they need some tears, I know how to produce those for you on command. You know what I mean? So that has worked in my favor when it comes to filming. We were in the scene where I was supposed to produce tears, and the director said, now, before we begin this, Brent, we may have to shoot this several times. Can you cry several times? I said, my memory of my mother not being here is not going to change, sir. I said, I can give you tears how many every times it takes for us to get this shot. And we shot it about 6 or 7 times, but I gave them what they wanted. So yeah, Ryan Coogler, he's awesome. He's what I call a true visionary. And what I mean by that is like I think when he assigns himself to directing a movie, he can already see the end of it even before they start. And his vision of capturing that the way he wants it to look or the way it should look to him is awesome. And he goes for it. He's not afraid of uh he's not afraid of in other words, like for him, I think it's like there are no limitations within the trueness of what he wants to express. And he's great at that. He's great at telling the whole story and making things connect. So yeah, great director. He had on sweatpants, with his sneakers. Yeah, he was cooling on set. Yeah, he was cooling. Good
Oh
guy.
my goodness. Yeah,
Good guy.
that's amazing. Like I said, you got to, work on the biggest films, but also work on, the smaller films, which, independent, which, those deserve as much as love too, just as the bigger films.
Right, right.
Yes. So leading to my last question,
Uh-huh.
who are your favorite like actors or, people that you look up to that inspired you to, start acting?
Um, Growing up, I did watch a lot of TV. That was part of the babysitting process in Brooklyn, New York. I was the youngest of nine, and
Mhm.
Mama definitely didn't want baby getting hurt in the street, so I was at home a lot.
Mhm.
Watching TV, I grew up on Star Trek, William Shatner. I grew up on Alfred Hitchcock. A lot of movies that were in black and white, even before they added all the color and the special effects and stuff. We were just so blown away by that. Growing up, I looked up to people like Sidney Poitier, his acting. Um, Different people, Yaphet Kotto, um, of course, Denzel Washington. Samuel Jackson is someone who I've watched him in a lot of his movies, and his acting is so awesome. You got Terrence Howard, you got Michael B. Jordan. I like triple threats like a Jamie Foxx. Um, 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 what's his name? I like people who, and they've been around a while. People like your Bill Dukes. Um, I love martial arts. I love martial arts. Bruce Lee, of course, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, Jason Statham. Um, Still today, my favorite martial artist right now, from everything I know about all the other martial artists, still today, my favorite is Michael Jai White. Yeah. He was one of the people who, when the question came up, should we replace the Black Panther's character with someone now that Chadwick Boseman has passed away? Um, I was like, my first choice would be um, Michael Jai White. I still think to this day that they haven't allowed him to stretch in the some of the possibilities that I think he could pull off. I think he could pull off a James Bond because of his skills. I think he could pull off a Black Panther or one of the people in that five movies, story deal for the Black Panther. He could pull off one of the legendary characters, Marvel and or DC hero and or villain. I just think he has a great skill set. Um, I've seen actors who, in my opinion, based on the things that I would judge an actor or actress by, who weren't, who have not in acting revealed his level on screen, but they've gotten bigger roles. So, you know, um, yeah, a lot of Tony Stark's, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh,
I got to meet him on Avengers Endgame,
oh my gosh.
and he's a down to earth. Yeah, he walked up to me and said, "Hey,
Oh,
there's only four drill sergeants on this movie set right now." And he said, "No, in Atlanta, no homo, but you're the best looking one. Your uniform, you're standing tall." He said, "Are you proud military?" I said, "Yes, sir. I was in the Army Reserves." And we chatted for a minute, and then him and his whole organism of entourage walked off, and everybody's like, "Yo, Robert Downey Jr. just walked up to you." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I was right there when he did, like, but yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, Robert Downey Jr., man, to watch him work and he's oh man, it's almost like they made the movie around him. I'm serious.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I basically started with him the whole first entire movie.
Right, right, yeah, yeah. Stan Shaw, he's in a TV series right now. I think it's well, I was going to say the Upshaws, but no, I don't think that's what it's called. But Stan Shaw, he's
Mhm.
somebody who I grew up watching his movies and stuff for years, and really looked up to. He was in a movie called The Great Santini, and he was a stuttering country guy that sold fruits and vegetables and honey. But yeah, Stan Shaw. I can't leave him out. Stan Shaw. Stan Shaw. Yeah.
That's a great list of actors and also people who worked in the martial arts, honestly. Yeah, and I know too, like, so do you do a lot of your like filming like in Atlanta? Because I know that's where mostly where the Avengers movies are, or they used to, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, they're still there.
It's still there.
Yeah, major places filming have been Atlanta, Knoxville, Tennessee for the Fatal Attraction,
Mhm.
Deadly Obsession type TV series. A few times for those, four of those. Um, Wilmington, Savannah, Charlotte, a few movies in Charlotte actually. A lot of movies in Charlotte. Um, there's a Christian TV series, and the name it's a guy. He's always comes on and he tells these he has these conversations with people that have experienced miracles and stuff like that. Very popular in the Christian community.
What is
White.
this? Is he start with the J or something? His name starts with the J.
I
Joel
can't think
or
of no,
Austin or
not
something?
not not Joe Osteen. This is another
Okay,
guy. He
never
actually
mind.
has like an audience, not church
Oh,
members. He actually has like an audience that sits out there, and he
okay.
pulls people up on the panel, and
Hmm.
they tell these stories. Oh my God, I forgot about it. I'll send you the name later on.
Yeah,
But
sure. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah. So Charlotte, filmed that several times as well, three or four times. I was a doctor in one. This guy got electrocuted. He should have been dead. I'm the doctor that told him he should have died, but of course he had this miraculous experience. Um, let's see. Yeah, but yeah, Charlotte, Wilmington, North Carolina, Knoxville, Tennessee, Atlanta, um, and now a few projects in Mississippi because I live in Mississippi now. And then Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee is like 40 minutes away. So I know I'll be pursuing some projects right there as well.
Well, that's amazing. And yeah, you have, like I said, like you have, I bet you have so many stories that we could go on. Yeah. So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
I hope you have a great day. And then, yeah, and we'll post this as soon as we can. So,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. Thank you so much.
You, bye.